Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. I am, blinded by the light. So if you see me looking anywhere but the camera, it's because the light is very bright outside today and it's truly blinding me. But I'm filming this really ahead of time. Today is November 23rd when I'm filming this. That's okay. I just wanted to share, I have time today to share my favorite wintry eyeshadows. And these are going to be single eyeshadows or shades that you can buy as singles. I was very inspired to do this. I see It's Just Steph post these kind of videos quite often of winter palettes that inspire her. So I was very inspired to do this video based on her videos. You'll see a theme with these shades. They're very similar in tone, similar in depth, that kind of thing and again, this is very based on just opinion. So whatever my little heart, my little mind thinks is creme de la creme for this time of year, that's what we've selected. I've also, because I'm filming this in November, there are probably shades in my collection that might be good fits for the winter months, and I just haven't gotten to use them yet. So this is really just based on palettes that I've used, given love to, know the shades and the formula. So there's no this one I've only used 2 times, and this one whatever. So this is really based on actual usage, a shade that you can get as a single, but it was introduced as a palette and I know this is not really a winter color story for most people. Really not a winter color story for me either. But also I wrote the shade names on because it was really hard to see the shade names on the old packaging. The new packaging is incredible. I almost bought it during Fantasy Cosmetica's Black Friday sale and I told myself, girl, just write the names on it. Anyway, this is the Fantasy Cosmetica Druid palette. And the shade that I love for the winter season is this shade down here called Transformation. Specifically for the holidays. This is the shade I really like to wear around Christmas time because it's one of those red-based shades with a really intense green flip. This is one of my favorite shades to wear for the holiday season. I really like to do a deep red outer corner and then kind of just this all over the lid, and it looks so good. I've posted an Instagram reel using this shade in a look. I've worn this shade often enough where I hit pan in it clearly and have it's definitely the biggest pan in the palette for me. I have pan in 3 of the shimmers and Transformation is clearly the favorite among them. I absolutely love that shade. I think it's so gorgeous. Really has turned me into loving these kinds of shades in other formulas, other brands, other dimensional shades like this that have a deeper tone. That is the shade that really truly made me fall in love with those. So I have a really, really soft spot and a warm place in my heart for the shade Transformation there. Perfect wintry, and it's sold as a single also. You could use my code LauraForest to save 10%. It's affiliate though. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. That's fine. Finally, I have a lot of singles in here. How many do I have? 8, 10. I have 10 single shades in my little singles palette. Some of these are shades that came from a palette, so we're just kind of going off the vibes of the shades. For those ones, you can find things that are similar from brands that sell singles. I promise you, because I have other shades that are similar, Let's just kick it off with the shades that were in palettes first, just to knock them out, get them out of the way. So I did depot and rehome all of my Juvia's Place palettes. The first shade that came from a Juvia's Place palette is one of my favorite kinds of shades. It's a purple with a really bright dimensional blue shift to it. Man, my nails are ratchet. I'm so sorry. So that is the shade Faso here. It's just so pretty. It's just one of those shades that has such a beautiful shift to it where you can really ground it with different colors. You could really focus on the blue aspect of this. You can really lean into the purple and get yourself a really, really beautiful look. Or you could just wear it really lightly, sheared out on the lid, just as more of that ethereal kind of wash. Just so pretty. It's such a gorgeous shade, and I definitely don't use it enough. Common theme for many of my eyeshadows. Then a shade that I wore recently, when I'm filming this recently, when you're seeing this, it was a month ago. I filmed my deck of panning November update, and I wore this all over the lid topped with stuff, and it's this guy. I think that this can turn a like blue toned look into more of a neutral wearable look, and this is just a light silver kind of shade. This is the shade Iman from the Juvia's Place Saharan palette. It's like a white silver. It is such a like platinum kind of silver shade. This is just so gorgeous. I am really excited to get more use out of this during the winter months. It's definitely a shade that I only really gravitate towards the cooler months of the year, so I'm excited to gravitate and use that more. Then my last mainstream kind of eyeshadow is another, it's Colourpop though. So this is Colourpop's The Big Three. I have no idea if this is still available or not. It looks very unassuming in the pan. It looks just like a white eyeshadow, but it is a really reflective blue shifting eyeshadow with more of that transparent kind of base. It's definitely a shade that I only really wear. It just looks wet. I think that's what I like in the winter. I just want ethereal kind of looks that just look wet and glossy and incredible on the lid. Kind of like how when a fresh sheet of snow is on the ground and you just see like sparkles, like how snow is incredible like looking. I hate the cold, but it kind of gives me like that snow where it's just shimmery. Now we're going to talk all things indie eyeshadow, and I'm going to start things off with this guy. This is Glaminatrix. This is actually from the Easter collection, but to me it fits that wintry kind of vibe because it's a purple with a really gold flip to it, so it fits the cooler months with that purple kind of shift. It's just such an interesting shade. Like, it looks super reflective over here and you can see that purple. So really, again, I gravitate more towards purple, plummy kind of shades for the cooler months of the year. And I think that this is gonna be a great one for me for like January, December, after Christmas, December. I also have two repanned, rehomed JD Glow singles. The first one is the one that I use probably... It's the one that everyone loves. It's unexpected, and there's good reason for it. It's very beautiful, very reflective, very dimensional. Like, you can see all... It looks like the shade is so textured, but it's really just the different layers of color that are showing in there. Again, it's one of those super reflective, wet kind of shades, again, because there's so much different shimmer in it. Whether it's like the shimmer itself or the particle size, I really don't know. But it almost has like a taupey kind of base to it with those... It has almost every kind of color in there shift that you can possibly imagine. I think that's what makes this shade so special, so unique, so gorgeous, is just how much they put in there and just were like... Then my final round single shade is this JD Glow one, and this is the shade Good God. It's more of a purple toned versus where Unexpected had more of like a... brown, transparent, like nude, neutral kind of base. This one definitely has more of that cooler toned kind of base to it. This is just an incredible shade. This is like a Faso from the Juvia's Place Magic palette, but like on 10. This is like, can you see the similarities, right? With like the basey purpleness, but this one just has so much brighter shift to it. It's just an incredible shade of eyeshadow. I am so excited again to get more use out of this. Let's sheer it out a bit so you can kind of see how just wet that can end up looking on the skin. It doesn't have to have a pigment to it. You can just sheer it out all over the lid and really get a beautiful sheer wash of wet looking eyeshadow on your eyelids. Lastly, you know it wouldn't be a single shadow video or like a favorite super sparkly winter eyeshadow favorite video without talking about Clionadh. So I do have 4 Clionadh shades, and again, they all look the same in the palette. And can we see, she has a vibe. Laura has a vibe, y'all, for the winter. I'm going to start with the shades that have been in my collection the longest from Clionadh, just because they're tried and true kind of shades, and I know for sure these are shades I truly, truly love and have gotten a ton of use out of, especially during the winter months. So the first one is Fluorescence, and that is this shade here. Man, can you see that dip? She is a well-loved Clionadh eyeshadow. It is something that I gravitate towards time and time again. I absolutely love this shade so much. It's, again, that sheer base with a really reflective green, cyan, with, I know this swatch is not going to do justice to it. I can see purple, the cyan, the teal, like the mint. This is such a beautiful shade. One of my favorite single shadows in my collection. You can see like that dip is organic. I was not in a project at all. That is organic use, and I love this shade for it. Same thing, more organic use is this shade here called UV. It's similar to Fluorescence, where there is that sheer base to it, but where Fluorescence has more of that blue teal kind of shift to it, UV is truly that ultraviolet kind of color. I'm really hoping you can see this in the swatch. It is one of those shades that almost doesn't look like anything, but when you turn it in the right light, it's bam, purple. It's so cool. Oh, maybe. All right, and then the last two eyeshadows that we're going to talk about in this video are, again, Clionadh shades. Let's talk about the one that I feel like is a little bit of a reach first, and it's because I haven't really used this shade a lot, but I know I'm going to love it for this time of year. I want to say I've used this once, so this is like kind of my stretch one, like where maybe I shouldn't be putting this in, but here it is anyway. That is this guy from Clionadh. This is the shade Glow. It's from their Glitter Iridescent Multichrome line, and it's, again, one of those shades that I'm kind of obsessed with for the time of year. It looks really unassuming in the pan, but it has a lot more glitter and intense glitter than the shade Fluoresce. I cannot wait to use this more. I just love the iridescent kind of shadows from Clionadh, so I know all of these really are going to be winners for this time of year. Some more than others because of the colors, and this is just one of them with a little bit more of that blue undertone to it, like the blue purple indigo-ness to it. Perfect for this time of year. But the last shade is kind of my one that bridges the gap between warm and cool, in my opinion, and that is this shade from Clionadh. This is a shade that I cannot get enough of. I have recently brought this into my collection maybe a month ago, and I've already reached for this 5 times. Which maybe doesn't seem like a substantial amount, but in the grand scheme of my eyeshadows and trying to use everything in my collection, the fact that I've reached for this 5 times within the month, 2 months owning it is actually kind of shocking to me. Anyway, this is the shade Glisten. It's a shade that I truly have loved using and working with. It really transforms shades into being able to work with different color mattes, in my opinion. This is one of those iridescent shades where it doesn't look like much, and it honestly, from the camera, it looks like my skin's just wet. But when I look at it, it has such a reflective, bright, pink fuchsia shift to it that it really does gravitate looks to different things. So whether I'm wearing the red shade from my Kaleidos VR Neon palette, I can wear this with it, and it really just grounds it and turns it into a whole different eyeshadow. Same thing, if I wear it with like a cool tone down here, it turns it into a whole, like a brighter kind of cool toned. Or I like to wear this shade with golds too, so I can wear gold with more of like a berry or a red tone, or I can wear a gold with a little bit of a pink outer corner. So this kind of shade really does gravitate and lend a different tone to a look, and I just freaking love it. I cannot get enough of this shade in particular, Glisten from Clionadh. I really cannot get enough of this shade. I freaking love it. But that is it for this video. Let me know your favorite shadows or your favorite colors to wear and gravitate towards in the cooler months of the year. I know maybe if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's the warm time of year. Let me know what you're gravitating towards, where you are in the world. I would love to know. But yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're staying healthy, sane, and safe, and having a great day, night, or whatever, wherever you are. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye. Bandit. Bandit.